Trump has signed an executive order aimed to lower the cost of prescription goods in the United States of America for millions of Americans on Medicaid and Medicare. Let's head on over here to AP. Trump signs executive order setting 30-day deadline for drug makers to lower prescription drug costs. The order calls on the health department, led by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., to work new price tags for drugs. If a deal is not reached, a new rule will kick in that will tie the price of what the U.S. pays for medications to lower prices paid by other countries. We're going to equalize, Trump said during a Monday morning press conference. We're all going to pay the same. We're going to pay what Europe pays. It's unclear what, if any, impact the Republicans' president's executive order will have on millions of Americans who have private health insurance. Ahead of the signing, the nation's leading pharmaceutical lobby on Sunday pushed back against Trump's plan, calling it a bad deal for American patients. Drug makers have long argued that any threats to their profits could impact the research they do to develop new drugs. Importing foreign prices will cut billions of dollars from Medicare with no guarantee that it helps patients or improves their access to medicines. Stephen J. Ubel, the president and CEO of PHRMA, said in his statement, it jeopardizes the hundreds of billions our member companies are planning to invest in America, making us more reliant on China for innovative medicines. Trump's so-called most favored nation approach to Medicare drug pricing has been controversial since he first tried to implement it during his first term. Good. Dude, if Trump's going to be able to lower prescription drug costs for people on Medicare, good executive order by Trump. I haven't said that very much on this channel since Trump came into office, because Trump hasn't done hardly anything good for the American people. Nothing that comes to my mind. This might be the first thing that I've seen that I am supportive of. Good. I hope the president is able to lower prescription drug prices for people on Medicare and get us to a level that is more with what Europe pays, because we spend on healthcare in the United States more than any other country, but it doesn't really translate into people having access to healthcare and people having access to low cost prescription drugs. And generally the money poured into the healthcare system in America, it doesn't yield for the American people ultimately. So this is something where, I'll believe it when I see it. Trump says a lot of stuff and throws a lot of stuff at the wall. And in a time when Trump's getting hammered for accepting a luxury jet from Qatar, and his approval rating on the economy is absolutely underwater due to his needless tariff war, you wonder if this is just something that Trump is throwing at the wall to get some positive attention in the press, and this will fall by the wayside ultimately. I hope not. I hope Donald Trump is able to accomplish what he is setting out to do here in lowering costs for prescription drugs. Here's the thing, isn't it just so funny that people like Bernie Sanders and others in the Democratic Party, ever since Sanders brought their feet to the fire in the 2015-2016 campaign season by campaigning on things like lowering costs of prescription drugs, that's when it's Sanders or a Democrat talking about it, that's Marxism, that's socialism. We don't want that. That's something that is bad because it's socialist. Ooh, socialism. Ooh, the big boogie word that Fox News and the Republicans have crammed down the American psyche, that anything socialist is evil, right? But when Trump has the idea of lowering the costs of prescription goods, it's ah, yes, this is outrageous that we pay these prices, and we need to do everything we can to lower the cost of prescription goods. It's like, people, like, this is what Bernie Sanders was campaigning on in his campaign, and this is stuff that, you know, Harris was talking about in her campaign. So it's like, you know, we could have the lowering of the prescription goods, the cost of prescription goods, along with a bevy of other great policy measures that people like Sanders and Harris were introducing, that would benefit Americans, you know, lower and middle class Americans across the board. But no, we have to we have to go with Trump and get all this other you know, stuff that's absolutely decimating our economy to get to having lower prescription drugs. I mean, it's just like, it just goes to show that there's not really any through line of policy or just kind of an underlying ideology that the Republicans follow, that they in their heart of hearts believe is going to make the country a better place. It's whatever Donald Trump wakes up and says that that the Republican platform is, that's what it is. And you got people like Rand Paul. You know, I made a video last week about Rand Paul being essentially the last conservative, essentially begging for any conservatives left in the country to stand up for actual fiscal conservatism, and pointing out that what Trump's administration is doing is not fiscal conservatism, and him kind of looking around an empty room going, is there anyone that's gonna point out that this is not what conservatives actually want or believe is right for our country? No, I'm the only one. Oh, okay, that's kind of awkward. But, you know, if Trump says it's a good idea and Trump wants to go with it, then it's a good idea and they want to go with it. You know, damned what they've said in the past, and damned what they've said in terms of how evil accomplishing that same thing that the Democrats have said that they want to accomplish is. Now that Trump's saying it and it's Trump's idea, it's a great plan. I mean, like, shit, man. You know, Sanders has been talking about lowering the cost of prescription drugs for forever and ever and ever. And it's been like the most evil thing that could possibly be imagined. The most evil thing that has ever come out of anyone's mouth. The idea of lowering the cost of prescription goods for low and middle income Americans, as that's like satanic. That is satanic evil, because Bernie Sanders and the Democrats have said it. But I do hope the president is able to accomplish what he set out to do here. Do I believe him? No. Do I trust him? No. Do I have high hopes for Donald Trump being able to accomplish lowering prescription drug costs? No. Do I hold out any sort of hope that Donald Trump might do anything whatsoever good for the American people with his administration? Yes, I do hold out a tiny bit of hope. This would be one of the things, and let's wish the president luck on accomplishing lowering the cost of prescription goods for Americans.